Welcome to Weld.com. We've got multiple sets of coupons. I want to do a downhill procedure. I want to rip this in here. We've had several requests of making a repair. So I want to do one of them downhill, stop, restart, show that technique, stop and restart again, maybe incorrectly, go back and make that repair. That's on the root pass. And then I want to show you restarts on downhill, hot pass, fill pass, and cap. I just want to do a bunch of multiple restarts and everything. After the root, there really shouldn't be any repairs on a downhill weld. There's no big deal. I've got my my standard fit that I like, fairly tight, barely a 330, between a 16 332 on the root face and about that same on the gap. So I'm going to be running 82 amps off a Renegade, ESOP Renegade, cool little machine, 6010. Let me get my stuff on, I'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm running 82 amps, the 6010 on this root, a little over 332, between 16 332 on my opening here. So I'm going to establish my arc, shove this in here and get a keyhole. You'll probably see me let go. If everything's running good, I'll let go and just do it one-handed. It's just my deal. You might see this rod flex. I put a little bit of pressure on here. I'm looking for the arc to be going on both sides of the bevel. I don't want it jumping off to one side, and I don't want to outrun this thing. So I'm going to make a stop, and then I'm going to restart. I'm going to make another start or stop and restart incorrectly to make a void, and then I'm going to go back and repair that. So here we go. There's sometimes I gently rock this rod back and forth just to make sure that it's going on both sides, but it's not to weave. I run about halfway down. I'm good. So I wanted to do that. So I wanted to do this restart, and I'm going to create a little controversy here. I just did all the cleaning I'm gonna do on this, and that's what people ding me on one time. Don't you have to grind and buff on every stop? Not with 6010. I've done this thousands of times and hit X-ray thousands of times. I really never missed an X-ray out in the field with 6010, 7010 roots. Not on the root. I've missed an X-ray because of a bad start on 7018. Didn't see a little porosity, but I really never had a problem running the root stuff in there. So I'm gonna restart this without cleaning anything. I knocked the slag off of it. The technique here is to start above on the bead, because I'm gonna grind it out before I get to a hot pass anyway. Let the rod get going, come in here and set this down, reestablish that keyhole and push on that a little bit. I recognize something right now. I'm a little tighter down here at the bottom than I was at the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a little more scooter poo here. That would be called amperage. I'm gonna go up to 87, near 90. So I'm gonna run a little bit more and stop. Let me go buff this real quick. We got to look at it. Okay, I went over and we've got B-roll of this. I don't know, see that we marked this. We've got B-roll of where the restart was. Got a real good blend on it. Again, I did not grind that, feather it. I do both. I just kind of recognize where the situation is If it's tight, super small keyhole, yeah, I'll open it up and feather it a little bit. If I'm up here on a piece of pipe and I'm running down and it's 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock somewhere, or even down here and it's got a good substantial keyhole, I might just hit it with a buffer restart, because it'll do that every time. And that's blended in nicely. Now I did cut this lightly with a grinder so you could see. I'm also way tight down here at the bottom. I probably need to go up in amperage, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start right on top of the keyhole and purposely miss. I wanna leave a void back there so that I can go back in and repair it and show the repair. I'm almost a little nervous that I'm doing it on a super tight one, but that's okay. We'll get her done. Couple of situations here. I cleaned the bead off. I look real good at the bottom after I made this incorrect restart. I just started too low. Wanted to do that purposely, creating a hole. I've gone ahead and prepped this for a hot pass. I ground it more than I normally do. Normally I just knock the top of the bead off, leave the wagon tracks in it, because I'm gonna run a hot pass. Whole purpose of a hot pass, gouge down in there. By technique, we leave that flat. We take all that slag on the wagon tracks and bring it up. You've heard me say my philosophy on groove welding: anything in a groove, pipe, plate, doesn't matter. I'm doing this on plate because it's a lot easier for you to see, a lot quicker to do, but we do the exact same thing on piping. My whole philosophy is leave it flat. Leave it as flat as possible and as clean as possible, so we can get in and weld fast, hot, clean. I don't need a whole rod to do this. It's where I like to run little half burnts and whatever. I just want to make sure that I can restart them correctly. I need to restart slightly above my grind out right here. Get this a little warm, and then I'm going to push on it just a little bit. I want this keyhole to kind of open up again, but I'm not going to be alarmed when it does. And when I get down and it closes up, I need to keep going. I think that's a mistake a lot of people do. They bring the bead down and they're tying into the existing good bead in the repair, and they quit. They see it close up and they quit. Well, it leaves a little horseshoe on the backside. You reshoot the x-ray of it and you still got another problem yet. Keep welding past that, stitch it and make it blend together. All right, I'm getting ready to run a hot pass. I turned myself up to 105 amps. Now, I'm not going to try to carry a lot of metal. Again, my hot pass is just to blow this root, get this thing going so I can start putting some meat to it. I just do a gentle stitch down through. I drag this fairly hard. Barely lift up. Each time I lift up, it makes it go flat. Keeps the slag on the top side of the bead. The way I run mine anyway. I know there's a lot of technique. It's worked for me thousands of times. I've never had a problem out in the field doing API and downhill work. Okay, we're back. I buffed everything off. We've got some B-roll, some tight shots here. Bead was a little thin on the backside, not bad. It's in there. The first tie-in restart that we did, really good. The one that I repaired, a little bit of a bump in there, a little void, but it's all above the surface. It didn't blend in quite as nicely as the first restart. Now here's something to consider, and I've done this a lot. If your WPS and your procedure allows you I've actually gone to a smaller rod. You know, if I'm running a 5/32 root, I've actually made repairs with 1/8 so that you can control things. You don't have to run it quite as hot. You can blow that keyhole open again and blend in and stitch. If you're running an 1/8, I've actually repaired a lot of stuff on 332 6010 or 7010. Just kind of depends on what the situation is and how big a repair is, what you're looking at. You know, I run a lot of 532 on small bore piping, 2-inch, 3-inch skinny wall. I'll run the 332s on that. Some people run the 8s and hog them in there. You know, it kind of depends on the situation. Again, this is 3/8 plate. It's real easy to show, better than looking on the inside of a pipe. This is the exact same procedure that you'd run on piping. So it's just the process. So we ran the root, multiple restarts, a repair. I went ahead and ran the hot pass in there. We'll do some other videos on a complete filling cap where we're running 5/32 fills and probably a 3/16. We'll probably do that on some piping. I hope this helps, and I hope this answered the viewer question about, you know, what you run into on doing these roots on restarts and repairs. Thanks for watching Weld.com. Please subscribe to the videos. I'm still popping my peas. I hope you're getting that. Zoom in there nice and tight there, brother.